Welcome to Going from Thousands to Millions, the podcast that explores the world of business from the ground up and where fellow entrepreneurs and experts offer advice and share their stories. Your host is Sam Bashiry, an Australian businessman, entrepreneur, property developer, and best known as the founder and director of the award-winning company Broadband Solutions. Sam will guide you through this journey to help you build your vision and show that anyone can achieve extraordinary success.
All right, welcome to Going from Thousands to Millions. I got my friend, one of my guys that I actually look up to in the car world, Alborz, on today. Thanks for coming in, bro.
Thanks for having me, man.
It's really nice to catch up with you, Melbourne.
It's a great office. It's a shame you can't really see it as you're listening to this podcast. But this is a really cool office.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. What brings you to Melbourne?
I was actually here for the tennis, and we're actually looking for office space here for the new business.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to sell you some office space by the end of the day. That's what I do best. So did you enjoy the tennis? Was it a good game?
Yeah, it was all right, man. It was the Federer versus Djokovic. I think Federer was a bit injured, so it was all right. It was a good game. We had really amazing seats. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah, nice
cool.
to come down. I love the tennis.
Nice. So tell me, I know I met you on Instagram. Off Instagram, I remember we caught up for breakfast. Where was it? Shangri-La. We were having breakfast. We were having a chat about cars because you love cars and I love cars. And then we found out that we were both from the same country. We didn't even know. You're like, are you kidding me? How did you not know that? I'm like, I don't know, man. I didn't look you up.
Yeah, I mean, your name's Sam. It's a bit hard for me to tell where the fuck you're from. But Alborz is a pretty
Persian name,
yeah. That's it, man.
That tells you, I haven't been back there for a long time. So I'm,
no, me neither,
touch.
man. I'm Australian, really. I don't see myself
so
as anything
true.
else.
So tell me a little bit about your history and your background. How did you get into cars? What did you do? What did you, we were a founder of an amazing business. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so I've always loved cars.
Yeah.
It's been a passion of mine even since I was a kid in Iran even. When it really isn't a very car culture, at least where I was growing up.
Yeah.
My parents don't know anything about cars, nor do they care about cars.
Yeah.
But they always used to tell me that even when I was like 5 or 6, I was always really fascinated by them. So some of it I think really is actually just ingrained in you. You know, like a love for machinery or love for anything that moves.
Yeah.
So I came to Australia when I was sort of 8.5, 9, and I don't know, man. I never really had a job. I applied for a job at Woolworths when I was like 14 and a half or whenever it was legal to apply, and I remember they told me I didn't have the personality to be like a checkout chick.
Wow.
Whatever. And I just sort of went down a very different path in life. I decided that I was just going to work for myself.
Okay, cool.
And I started a lot of businesses. I failed so many times.
No, just while you were young?
Man. I just started so many like online businesses. I ran a computer store. I ran an internet cafe. I just did so many different things. But yeah, I mean, eventually I started CarAdvice, which...
So how did that come about? So what was the moment, with CarAdvice, what made you do that? So you tried, a couple of different businesses, which kind of tells me that, you had that entrepreneur blood in you, right? You want to do your own thing. You want to, do things, just get things done, right? So you did that. Some of them failed. And then what was the point that you go, I'm going to do this thing about cars. I want to write about cars. And how did that come?
Yeah, it's actually a really good question because up until CarAdvice, I'd made 16 businesses. 16 businesses. I started when I was 12. Some of them are obviously just online pages that were trying to earn money.
Still, man.
I remember getting checks when I was 12 and a half, and my parents were very confused. You weren't allowed to earn, so I had to put it under my dad's name.
Yeah.
To be over 18. But look, man, I actually had given up when I closed down my 16th business, which was the internet cafe. I actually gave up. I was I think 21 or 22, and I just thought I've got to get a real job now. So I finished my uni degree, which I really actually enjoyed doing, and I failed at that last business. And my parents were like, how Iranian parents are, you should go and get a real job.
Yeah, very critical.
Not that they were actually my parents are extremely supportive, but they just didn't understand. They don't understand the entrepreneur life, right? They're both 100%. Academics. And I went and actually got a job at the University of Queensland doing IT support, right? Basically walking around fixing computers and keyboards, man.
Yeah.
It was actually, as far as jobs go, it was really easy and cushy, and they paid me really well. But it was I felt like I was using 1% of my brain because That just wasn't me.
Not your full potential.
It wasn't, man. And I remember I was talking to a friend of mine at the time who I still know, and he said, "Why have you failed at all these businesses?" Because he was an entrepreneurial spirited as well. And I said, "I don't know." Like, he goes, "Well, what's the theme?" I said, "Oh, I always try to find a niche in an area to make money. Like, I always look for an area." And he goes, "Well, that's not how you do it. You got to do what you love." And he's like, "What do you love?" I said, "I love cars." He goes, "Well, why don't you do something in cars?" And I said, "I don't know anything about cars. Like, I just love cars. I couldn't change a tire."
Yeah. I couldn't either, man. I still
can't.
That's so true.
I mean, if my life depended on it, I could probably watch a YouTube video, right? But and I was like, "Why don't I do something in cars?" And then I initially went, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna apply for a job to learn.
Yep.
And then I'll maybe consider doing something myself. So I'll get an education, basically.
Yeah.
So I applied to Wheels magazine and all those sorts of big publications back then. And they all fucking rejected me, man. Like, I didn't even bother writing back. I think only one of them wrote back and basically just said, no thank you. And I was like, well, fuck you guys. I'll do this myself.
Yeah.
And having a tech background, for me to create a internet business wasn't something that I was like, well, how do I do this? Like, it wasn't that hard. Well, it was hard, but it wasn't like new. Yeah. So I set it up, man. And within like 4 months, I remember on the 4th month, it's actually a great story. I always love cars, right? As part of my job at the University of Queensland, sometimes I had to travel between campuses.
Yep.
So and they gave us this Holden Commodores to drive, right?
They were pretty cool back then.
They were all right? They were better than the shitbox I was driving. And I got into one at the St. Lucia campus to drive to Gatton, which is about an hour out of Brisbane. And on the way there, I must have got bored somewhere, and I had lunch, and I was coming out of this lunch, like the car park, and I must have just lost my mind and started doing a bit of donuts, right?
As you would.
Like in the middle of the road, on a public road, right? It wasn't even that secluded. Right? I was just bored. I was like, fuck, this is just such a boring job.
Yeah. I'd get some excitement, some blood.
And in the middle of doing this, a police car was fucking driving past the other way, right? So fucking lights on, pulled behind me. I'm thinking, and it has University of Queensland written all over.
Oh wow! Oh wow! I think it's my job.
I'm thinking, fuck now.
I'm gonna get fired.
Anyway, after getting yelled at for about 30 minutes, I sheepishly did the thing and drove back to UQ and walked back in, and I saw my boss sitting in the corner. And I'm wondering, does he know yet? Because how they call the police always call me. I said, oh fuck it, I'll tell him tomorrow. I'm not in a good day today. And then I walked in tomorrow, and I had a thing from my supervisor saying, "Oh, you need to go and see blah blah blah." And I walked in there, and they're like, "So there was an incident yesterday." I'm like, "Oh fuck, here we go." Anyway, they gave me the full rundown. I said, "Oh, just take this as a warning. You can't do that sort of shit." Obviously.
Oh, they were kind to you, man. They gave you a warning.
Yeah, it's government. They can't fire you. That's why people work in the government sector. And I came back to my desk, and I just sat down and I went, I don't even fucking want to do this anymore. Like, this is just a waste of my time. I'm acting out. I went and looked. At that point, CarAdvice was running for about maybe 4 to 5 months. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah.
I looked at my AdSense account, which is what I was using to monetize CarAdvice at the time.
Yeah, sure.
And I hadn't looked at it for 4 months, right?
Yeah.
I didn't even realize. I just figured he's making no money.
Yeah.
I'd just been writing content and I was putting all my heart and soul into it, but I didn't realize he'd make any fucking money.
Yeah.
I looked at my AdSense account and I worked out. I made more money from the site that month than I was making from my salary at UQ. And I nearly fell off my chair. I was like, that's got to be a mistake. And then I realized it was US dollars. And I thought, that's got to be a mistake.
Wow.
Right? So I quit. I actually just quit.
So you actually followed your heart this time instead of chasing the money.
I did.
So you didn't even think about the money. It took you 4 months to actually have a look and see what's doing.
Initially, I wasn't even going to try and make money from it. I just wanted to do it as a hobby.
Yeah.
And that was still the case for many years after, because for me it was just, I love this. People are paying me to drive their cars.
How cool.
And write about it. Like,
how cool.
What a cool job.
What a cool job, man.
It was a cool job.
So how'd you come up with the name CarAdvice? That's what I want to know. Is it just like car and advice? Like, I came up with broadband solutions because I was driving the car and I thought broadband and solutions and broadband put it together. I Googled it. I couldn't believe it wasn't taken. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. No one's taking this name. And I just registered it. What name did you come with CarAdvice? It's
almost a replicate of my story.
No.
Yeah, because back when I started CarAdvice, the sort of the internet side of the media was really poor. Like all the major publications like News Corp and Fairfax, they didn't really get the internet very much. They still don't, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But And I thought, oh, what's a cool name for a website? And I thought all these different things, and I thought, oh, that's just going to be too enthusiast. I want a site that appeals to everybody. Like, And I said to myself, I want to offer advice on cars, and I thought, oh, what about fucking CarAdvice, right?
Makes sense.
And I put it into whatever domain registry.
The domain registry.
I was like, how the fuck is that not taken?
It's so
back then, man, I reckon I could have registered another 100 domains and sold them for a couple of million bucks by now.
It's so true.
It's crazy.
So it kind of
like
made
property,
sense,
right?
It's so true, man.
Yeah.
So it just kind of made sense, and it came together. So how long did you do that for? Tell me.
So I started that in 2006.
Yep, cool.
And I sold it to Channel 9 in 2016.
Okay, so 10 years.
10 years. There was an earn-out for 2 years after.
Yeah, okay. So you did that?
And I left the company in September 2019.
So just recently you left?
Very recently.
Okay, so tell me, what are you going to do now? So you've done that for a decade, over a decade almost.
Over a decade, yeah.
Yeah, something that you were passionate about, something that you went into at a young age. You know, man, it's like, I know what it feels like. It's your baby in a way, because, you built that thing, because you built that with your blood and sweat, right? And it's, it's not something that you went and got money from people. You did it. You did it from scratch, right? And it's a great feeling to create stuff like that. I love that, right?
It is, man.
So obviously that chapter's closed now, and there's a new chapter opening, right?
It is,
so
yeah.
tell me, can we talk about? Is it something we can talk about? Something that
Yeah,
you're doing?
absolutely, man.
What are you going to do next? So what are you doing now?
So I guess to put that into context, when I sold the business, I had no illusions that it would still be mine. I would be the same.
Sure.
As is the case with anything you sell.
100%.
So in sort of mid 2019, when there was a full takeover from Nine and a new CEO and just complete change of guard,
Yeah.
I sort of thought, I'll give this a go for another year or two and just see if
Sure.
I enjoy it. I lasted about 2 months and I went, I don't want to be here. Not because there's anything I have against people running it or anything like that. It just wasn't me. I no longer enjoyed what they were doing.
You lost that fire.
I lost the fire because I was an employee, man. And the moment it hit me, because I lecture at the University of Queensland now. They actually made me an honorary professor.
That's pretty cool.
It is
man.
pretty cool, man.
Very cool.
I remember giving a lecture there, and I was talking about entrepreneurial mindset. I was saying the difference between an entrepreneur and an employee is that the entrepreneur would never sell his time. There's always trying to work out how to create value in something.
Yeah.
Like both for himself and for whatever, right? He needs to just create value in something, not just sell his time.
Yeah.
And then as I said it, I sort of stood there and went, fuck, that's exactly what I'm doing right now. I'm selling my time to Channel 9. And it was like a come to Jesus moment for me. I just clicked them and I gotta fucking quit. And I quit. Again, it was like how I quit my job to start CarAdvice.
So you made a decision, right?
Yeah.
You didn't overanalyze it.
No, I never overanalyzed anything.
That's
man.
the thing, like with me too,
If I'd overanalyzed anything, man, I wouldn't have started 17 businesses.
It's so true, right?
I would have probably started 5.
But it's so true. But a lot of people do that, right?
Yeah.
We have a saying in Persian, you make a knife, but in the morning you don't use it. I don't know, it makes
I don't
no
know
sense in
what that
English,
is,
right? But basically it's like, sitting there and planning a million things, but doing nothing with it, right?
Yeah.
You're always planning in your head, but you're never taking that step to make that thing come to life, right?
Yeah.
Whereas with me too, I just did it. People are like, oh, did you have a business plan? I was the business plan.
Yeah.
I went there and I sold internet to people, and I did it because I believed that I could add value like no one else could, right? I believed that we could make something different to everybody else. So that's the advice that I try and give a lot of people, is that just go out and do it,
Dude,
man.
honestly, my entire lecture is, I meet these people, they're like, oh, so I'm thinking about launching this business. I'm like, okay, that's great. What have you done? I go, I've got this great business plan. I've done like customer analysis. I've done this market. I was like, dude, you spent 6 fucking months. You could have launched the thing by now and worked out if it wasn't going to work.
It's so true, man.
Like, honestly, especially with most of this online stuff, you could launch something in less time than it takes to do the market analysis.
It's so true.
Work out if it's going to work first. Like, why
so
waste
true.
so much time? You know what it is? I think people don't like to fail. And as a result of not wanting to fail, they want to do every fucking due diligence before they go into it to show that, you know what I mean? Like, it's just
so
weird.
true.
And I'm just like, dude, I'm happy to fail.
So true. They're scared.
Dude, I've failed so many times in life. Like, I have to fail. Like, if I feel like if I don't fail a couple of times a year in something, it hasn't been a good year. Like,
how do you grow? Like, how do you grow
from
if you don't
failure,
fail?
man. It's from
Spot on,
failure,
man.
dude. You have to grow from
in your
failure.
like in my personal life, in everything, right? Like, you make mistakes everywhere, in life, in business, and all that.
Man.
If your life is perfect, then how do you grow?
Well,
you hit your limit.
I always say to people, if you've never failed in life, you haven't gone anywhere.
So true.
It's true. It's absolutely fucking true, man. You meet these people that are so conservative and so scared to take a punt. And they're happy to judge other people when they try and fail. They'll say, I told them it wouldn't work. It's like, you know what? he went and fucking tried it. Because he's going to lead to something else after that and something else after that. If I hadn't failed 16 times, CarAdvice would never have started.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It is so true. And you would have taken a whole different path in your life.
Yeah, it would have been fixing computers.
Yeah, but it's true. You know,
Would have been working for you.
I don't know about that, but but it's so true.
Yeah.
So tell me, you got a car collection. Can we talk about that, right?
Yeah, man.
So what do you got? Tell me about your cars. Tell me. Actually, I want to ask you a question, right? My first car ever bought. So we had no money. My parents had no money when we came here. We struggled
How old
a
were
lot.
you when you got here?
So I came here when I was 10 years old, 1989.
Very similar to me, man.
Yeah, 1989. We came here, and my parents had no cash. So I begged my dad to buy me a car, and he bought me a car from a place called Kelly Motors for $3,000, a brown Sigma station wagon, right?
Nice.
Oh man, it was terrible. You had the equalizer that you could push it up and down, you know. So we used to do chap laps. We used to push the equalizer up and down to get the music going. It was embarrassing, right? All my friends had VL Commodores back then. Like that was the thing to have, right? So I used to park my car 2 streets away and walk to school or where I used to go because I didn't want my friends to pick on me. So, what was your first car?
Man, I had a purple Ford Falcon.
I know Ford Falcon.
Yeah, it's 1993.
EB or EA or something?
EB.
Yeah.
It was worth about $2,000.
Yeah.
I inherited from my parents who were also broke.
Yeah.
And I remember when I used to go out, out when I was 18, 19, I was so embarrassed. I would park it about 1 kilometer away and walk to the club.
Yeah.
And I didn't want any girls in particular, to ever see me in that car.
No way.
And a couple of times where, I had a really good end to my night, if you know what I mean. I would have to just abandon the car. There's no fucking way anyone's getting in that thing.
And just leave it there.
Just leave it there, man.
That's so funny. So tell me, what do you got now?
So look, I had that. So I guess like you, man, when you grow up in that situation, you aspire, right? You
100%.
You aspire. You're
100%.
always aspiring because you see, when I was a kid and I would see like a guy drive past in his Ferrari, there was no envy.
No.
There was no envy.
I want to be that guy.
I wanted to talk to him.
Yeah, I want to learn from him.
I wanted to know what he did. I wanted to know how he got the Ferrari. And I just had so many questions. I wanted to learn. I feel like that's gone in a lot of people these days. I don't feel that anymore.
You get 2 kinds of people, right? So when I'm driving my cars, you get kind of people that, give the thumbs up, man, that's really cool. And you get people that give you that look, like,
you're
that,
a wanker.
Yeah, and I hate that. I don't get that. So I kind of get you.
It's probably a lot better in Melbourne than it is in Brisbane, man. I gotta tell you. I think Melbourne car culture is a bit better.
It is. It is bigger. It is bigger city. Yeah.
So after I could no longer afford to keep the Falcon because it kept breaking down, I actually sold one of my businesses for like 30-40 grand at some stage.
Yeah.
So I used that money to buy a WRX.
I had one.
I had one, man.
Yeah.
It's like a graduation car. You get it to graduate to a proper car, right?
Yeah.
And then I spent like 30 grand on it.
Doing it up and stuff.
Just such a fucking waste of money, man.
I'll put the biggest stereo, subwoofer, the whole lot.
Such a walk, right? I love that car. I regret selling it. I wish I still owned it to an extent.
Yeah.
So after that, I had no car for a long time because I was running CarAdvice, and as is the case, you always have 3 or 4 cars at a time, right?
Yeah, cool.
But in 2015, Macquarie Bank bought a stake in CarAdvice.
Okay, sure.
Which in retrospect I shouldn't have sold because it was way too cheap for what we ended up selling it for a long time. But you never know, right?
Yeah.
So it was my first real access to real money,
real cash,
where there was like lots of zeros going into a bank account, right? So I'd fucking done holy shit,
Oh wow,
Yeah,
I've done one for myself.
My wife's like, we have like $1 million mortgage. I'm like, no. I need to buy a car.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, and you talk to an accountant, they tell you that's the dumbest thing you could do, right?
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah.
But honestly, I bought an Aston Martin Vantage.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah, and that car opened so many doors to so many people in the car community, the higher sort of style car community, that really led me to make so many better life decisions because these people are really good professionals. They're, great investments, and that's
so true.
Man, that connection that I got from that car not only made me pay back for that car in tenfold. It was more than that, I reckon. I actually worked out that it made me a couple of $1 million just in the advice I got from financial investment. So, if you're sitting there thinking about it from an accountant perspective, again, it's that sort of business plan. You got to do what your heart says. Like
100%.
I was like, I want to buy this Aston because
that's what makes me happy.
Well, the story also for us was that Aston Martin was the first, prestige brand that gave us cars.
Okay,
cool. Right?
So you had to pay it back in a way. You felt, you got to do the right thing.
No, it's because also I remember as a 23, 24-year-old being in this Vantage,
Yeah.
not my own, like a press car.
Yeah.
Driving it across the Story Bridge in Brisbane and just thinking, fuck, like I absolutely love this feeling of, like not the attention, but
No.
just
I know
it
the
was
feeling,
just such
man.
a feeling, man.
I know the feeling of success.
I actually remember when I think
everything.
about it now, I feel like I want to cry because I was like,
No, I get it.
I was like, I want to be this person. I want to have these things. Like, I want to really strive to this. And then I'm giving it back and going back in my Falcon is really depressing, right? So I always said, if I ever have the means, that's the first fucking car I'll buy. And I did, man. It was a really good feeling to get there.
Yeah.
And obviously, we sold the business the following year. And then,
Yeah.
so since then, I've bought a few other cars. I've got I bought a Goldwing, the SLS.
That's cool, man. You know what? That's one of my favorite cars. We were talking about it this
I
morning,
know,
actually,
man.
and I really want to buy one, man.
Man, it's an appreciating asset.
It's amazing, isn't
It's
it?
an
Huh?
appreciating asset. You will not lose money on that car ever. It's fantastic. It's the last naturally aspirated Goldwing Mercedes ever made.
Wow.
Never gonna get that again. With the
Yeah.
emission control and stuff, that car just will never
Forget
exist.
about it.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
So I bought that as a wedding present for my wife.
Nice.
Wedding anniversary present.
Yeah,
When we
nice.
got married, Mercedes gave us an SLS to have as our wedding car.
Oh yeah, cool.
And I remember all our photos were with an SLS.
Yeah, that's pretty
And-
cool. Sentimental, man.
Yeah, and I was like,
Yeah.
when for our fourth anniversary, I bought that for her.
Nice.
Although I really wanted it for myself, but it's a good excuse.
That's really cool.
After that, I bought a 458 Speciale.
What a beautiful car, man.
That's another
another
fantastic collector's car.
Yeah, 100%. You're not gonna get anything like that again.
Yeah, and then the wog in me got the better of me, and I bought a Lamborghini. So I've got a.
That's the latest one you got, huh?
Yeah, the
we went
first-
for a drive in it.
And we
How good
did,
is
man. I
that?
fucking love that car.
How good is it's like it's so wrong, but it's so right.
I know, it's ridiculous. So
Yeah.
a Huracan Performante, which I absolutely
Beautiful
love
car.
driving around.
Yeah.
And I've got my Lotus race car.
Nice. Apparently, they're one of the best cars on the track. Is that right? Because I haven't driven one before.
Oh, I mean, against normal cars, they would they would demolish them. But against like Pistas and GT2 RS,
Yeah,
you don't have the straight line speed.
Yeah.
They're fucking fast through the corners. I actually love the Lotus. I've done a lot of Tigers in it.
There you go.
So that's the car that I actually bought to race in. So
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
So tell me, what are you doing now? So what are you gonna do now? Like,
Yeah, so
what's next?
I probably didn't answer that question properly for you last time.
That's all right. Because
I left. So I left CarAdvice because I guess as people say, creative differences.
yeah, cool,
And I'm starting again.
cool.
New business is called Car Expert.
I like that.
So it's not similar to CarAdvice, but
Yeah.
it is similar to CarAdvice. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
it's
Like
about
we're still
cars.
going to be talking about cars.
Exactly.
viewing
Yeah,
cars.
exactly. Yeah.
Slightly different angle, slightly different approach, slightly different methodology. I want to just do something I love again, and I want to do it again for the right reasons, which was
Passion.
man. Like I've been very fortunate in life, with the business and the sale and all that, and I just want to go back to having fun every day. I want to, and you know what? That's exactly how I built CarAdvice in the first place.
I love that
by
about
having fun.
you. I love that about you. You know what I love about you, man? Like, what I love about you is that you follow your soul. You want to feed your soul.
Yeah.
It's not about, because a lot of people can say, you know what, I've made the money now. I'm just gonna chill out and I'm gonna do,
I tried
whatever.
that for 2 weeks, man.
It's bullshit.
You can't do it.
It's bullshit, man.
You can't do it, man.
It's bullshit, right? It doesn't last, yeah. And you follow your soul, man, because you're actually feeding your soul, by doing all this stuff.
You know what you have to do.
Yeah.
Like you know what you have to do. I think people tell me, I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's like, no, you do. You just don't want to listen to it. Because it's maybe the harder decision. It's the scary decision. It's the whatever decision, right? You want to do what seems logical, what seems like it makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Honestly, dude, you got to do what feels right. And what feels right for me was, I want to talk about cars again in a manner that I want to talk about cars. Unshackled from corporate bullshit.
Yeah. Because that's not who we are, man.
That's not who we are, man. I mean, and again, there's nothing wrong with the corporate
No,
side.
it's your own.
I genuinely tried to do that for about a month.
Yeah.
So I spent a month of my life. I didn't go as far as wearing a suit. I mean, we're both here wearing t-shirts.
Yeah, not gonna
I've never worn a suit in my life, but I actually proud of never.
But you got
owning-
married.
I don't. I borrowed it. I don't actually own a suit. One of my life goals was to never own a suit.
I love that.
But I tried the corporate thing. It's funny. I opened up my Mac and I organized all my folders and I started board meetings and minutes and I was like, fuck, I can do this. I'm gonna be a corporate guy. I said, my argument was I wanna learn, I wanna grow what it's like to be in a corporate
Give it a
environment.
go, 100%.
Man, I lasted maybe 3 weeks.
Yeah, it just wasn't you.
And the thing that the straw that broke the camel's back was I got an email from one of the higher ups at our organization who'd asked me to produce some plan.
Yeah.
And I sent him the plan and he sent back saying, oh, that's really, really good, mate, but I actually asked you to produce a plan for the plan.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, sorry?
What do you
He goes, no. I attached the template. I want you to write about how you're going to produce the plan. And I said, but I've already produced the fucking
plan.
He goes, I know, but I need the plan for the plan first.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, man, like this is not the environment that is innovative.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the kind of stuff they teach you at school. And it's textbook stuff.
It's just it's not about making value. It's about ticking boxes and managing up. That's fucking all it is.
So true.
And that's not my life, man. That's not my life.
So true.
Man.
So tell me, obviously you got family, you got life, you got everything going. How do you switch off? Because it's something that I'd struggle with. Like last night.
I don't know how to.
See, last night I couldn't sleep, man. So I went to bed at 3:30 in the morning.
Right.
And no, I wasn't partying. I was at my house on the couch.
Man.
And I couldn't sleep.
My wife tries to drug me sometimes.
So, but do you actually switch off at all, man? Like,
Man,
do you meditate? Do you do anything to switch off?
I drive.
Oh, wow. Yeah, cool, man.
I love going for a long drive.
Yeah,
it's
sweet.
the only time where my mind turns off, especially when I'm going fast. It's like, I guess how people describe surfing, like you have to be 100% on, otherwise you're going to fall off the fucking thing, right? But when I'm going flat out up a mountain road in a super fast car, that's the only times I feel like I'm actually free. Like the rest of the time I'm like you, man. I don't fucking sleep much. It's really hard. Like we went to Hamilton Island recently for a holiday.
Yeah, how did that go for you? Were you struggling with that? Because
Man,
I struggled after a couple of days. Someone strangling me.
I had to start working. Yeah. I couldn't fucking. Even though I was in an interim period with leaving a company, starting a new company, I had so much to do. Yeah. And I promised my wife I wouldn't do it for 5 days, right? Yeah. 5 fucking days. Yeah. I couldn't do it, man. I think I lasted like 12 hours before I
got back onto
it. Just sneak into the toilet with the laptop. It's hard.
It is, but it is hard. They talk about life and work balance and all that, but you are who you are, man.
But you know what it is, man? I think when people talk about the life-work balance, for me, I actually really love work because my work is what I love as well.
You're passionate about
I'm passionate about it.
Some 9 to 5 getting paid. I enjoy it.
I wake up in the morning and I look forward to getting shit done.
So cool. Yeah.
Because I'm working for myself. Like I'm not. This next business I'm doing, as an example. Yeah. I'm doing it because I want to succeed 100%. At what I love doing. I want to do this for another 10 years.
You want to go back to the start again, where you were, and start all over again, show they can do it again and again.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I guess you can say there's a bit of ego involved there, but at the same time, man, I just want to be around cars in a way that excites me, not in a way that is about business.
Yeah, so. And you can't turn everything into business, man.
You can't. The best businesses are started by people that were passionate, and it's true. A fact of life across every aspect of every successful business, man.
It's so true.
Think of one super successful business that wasn't started by passionate people. It just doesn't exist.
It's so true.
So, that's why it's so cliche. They say, do what you love, you never work. I hate that saying, but it's fucking true.
It's true. It is true. It is true, man. Like it is true. And I know. Like initially, you break your back, and people don't see how much work and effort you put into things, right? Because people see the nice thing, and they're like, "Oh man, you're so lucky." It's like,
I hate that word. Man.
I hate it too. Like they go to a golfer, you're so lucky. He goes, "You know what? The more I practice, the luckier I get." Yeah. There's no such a thing as luck. I believe in opportunities, right? There's opportunities. It's what you do with these opportunities, and it's about having balls and going out there or giving it a crack and not being afraid. But nothing's easy.
Nothing's easy, man.
If it was easy, then everybody could do it.
Nothing's easy.
But everything's doable.
Well, yes. I think everybody could do it. They just don't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you are actually...
Man, I don't know about you, but I wasn't very good at school.
I wasn't good at school either, man. I went to school because it kept my parents happy. Coming from the Persian background,
that's it.
You had to go to school. Like, I remember when I finished high school, on that day, there was no internet back then, right? So it was about... They used to print the results out in the newspaper, right? So the whole Iranian community used to go and buy the newspaper to see whose kid got into what.
Wow.
Yeah, like
how shit is that?
Oh man, so imagine the pressure you're under because the whole community is gonna pick up the phone and start ringing your parents saying, "Oh yeah, I heard your son got into this or your daughter got into this." Or if you didn't, oh man, you bring shame onto your family. So imagine how much.
It wasn't that bad for us, man.
Oh, it was for us, man. And how much pressure that puts you as a 17-year-old kid, right?
Yeah. What a waste.
Oh, absolute waste, right?
Yeah. I didn't learn anything at school, man.
I didn't either, man. I honestly didn't.
I know what I learned at school.
Social skills.
All I learned at school was that I was an idiot. That was when I finished year 12. I thought I was a moron. although I did okay at school, like I was getting B's and occasionally A, there are people in math and physics who are like, they just like could solve a fucking equation, and I just looked at them and I'm not going to go anywhere in life. Like I just, because that's how they make you feel. They make you feel like if, if you can't do this specific form of understanding of study, if you can't memorize shit, if you can't do the math that they put in front of you without using the internet, you're an idiot, right?
So true.
My skill was I could find the answer to anything in fucking 30 seconds online. Or I could build it, you know what I mean? No one cared about that. Guess what, in the fucking digital age, that's way more important than doing an algebra equation.
I know, I've never had to use one.
No,
I've never used that equation formula ever.
I've got an IT degree. Like literally, I have an IT degree from UQ. I don't think most of the programming stuff I learned I ever used to build CarAdvice, because I wrote that entire site by myself. Like I hand coded that fucking thing. I don't think any of it was taught at uni.
Nah.
And that's not disrespecting uni.
No,
I'm a professor there now.
No, of course not.
I've got to be nice. But
it's just being real.
It's just being real. Like, uni taught me perseverance. High school taught me I was an idiot. And life taught me I wasn't. That, like,
I like that.
It's true, man. And I go and speak now at my school, which is Napili State High, occasionally to students that are graduating. And that's the message I try and get them is, if you fucking really sucked at year 12, don't think your life's over, because that's how you feel at that age.
You do, man.
You feel like that leads to a lot of people having depression. Exactly, man.
I know what it feels
I felt like that. I thought, oh man, like I didn't get into what I wanted at uni initially. My OP wasn't good enough or whatever, right? And you're just like, fuck, like, I fucked it. Yeah,
I'm finished. Yeah, I'm a failure. I failed.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
And a lot of people go through that, man.
I know.
They can't get out of it.
They can't get out of it. So
it's sad, and it's all about, and I talked about it in one of my other podcasts. It's life teaches you things all the time, man, and time fixes everything. You just got to allow it and give it enough time, right?
Agree.
Things change,
They do.
and sometimes you're having a bad day, but the next day you're laughing, right? But if you just concentrate on that bad day and said, "Oh wow, I'm not going to have a good day ever again,"
days, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's we're human beings, right?
Yeah, we all have bad days.
So tell me something else. What's the fastest you've ever been in a car? How fast have you driven a car? The fastest way. We don't want to know which country you're where.
No, I can tell it's legal because it was in Europe.
Yeah, tell me.
It was either 358 or 361.
Well, in what car?
The Bugatti Veyron.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I've never been in one.
Yeah, it's fucking scary at that speed.
Yeah, it is. I've been up to 320 in a 488 Ferrari in Europe as well.
Yeah.
And it was raining. And I knew that
More
if I
fun
made
when it's
one,
raining.
man, I knew if I made one mistake, I'd be finished. But there was a big highway. There was no cars on the road.
Cars, yeah.
But it is scary.
After about 310, 320,
You start-
the tunnel vision is insane.
It is.
You actually don't realize how fucking fast you're going. I did it. I've done more than 300. I think about 10, 20 times now. Like, I do it a lot when I go to Europe, because I go to Europe a lot.
Yeah.
And occasionally, I remember once I was in an Audi RS7 and it was torrential rain. I probably shouldn't be doing 320. But the windscreen wipers were struggling to get the at that speed. They just couldn't go and working there. Anyway, like what felt like it was a kilometer ahead, this Golf pulled into the left lane, right?
Oh wow!
It was so far ahead that I was like, I'll stop.
Yeah.
Right? By the time I moved my right foot off the accelerator onto the brake, in this sort of, it wasn't slow, but it wasn't like rapid. But I thought I had so much room. Half the distance was gone, right?
Wow.
By the time I started pressing the brake pedal down, the fucking car's computers went, this is not going to work for you. Full fucking brake, 4-wheel lock-up in the rain at 300 kilometers an hour, and I was fucking just holding it, hoping not to hit the wall. I reckon I would have stopped maybe 2 meters behind him as he moved out of the way.
Wow.
I kept going. I couldn't actually stop him. He actually just moved out of the way.
Wow.
And I thought, fuck, 300 k's an hour, man, it's fast.
Oh, it is fast, man. If you hit something at that speed, you're finished.
Yeah, it is fast. But, the good thing is in Germany, apart from that one example, the majority of the time, they're so respectful of that left lane.
So true. We don't have that in Australia.
Man, we have the opposite.
Oh, they stick there and they don't move. They don't move out of the right lane.
Especially if you're in a nice car.
Oh, they just stick. I had a guy coming back from the airport yesterday. He was doing 60 in an 80k zone.
He refuses to move.
No, he wasn't refusing to move.
And if you undertake him, he'll
get upset.
start following you and tailgating you. And you're like, what the fuck, dude?
I just want to go home, man.
I call that the Australian motorist, though. Like, that's typical Australian motorist.
We gotta change this. Like, dude, I just want to go home, man. I don't want to race you. I don't want to fight you. I don't want to tailgate you. I just want to go home. So how about you moving to your lane and I'll stay in my lane and we go home. We get along and we smile. Like even like honking, man. In Europe or even in Asia, you honk, no big deal.
No, here it's like a personal insult.
Oh, dude, it's like you can say something to the mother, man. They want to fight you. It's like, oh wow, dude, just get out of my way.
I had a idea that exact situation where it was on the highway, right? 110 zone, 2-lane highway. He's going 90, right? And there's a truck in the left lane. He's going 90, and I'm just sitting behind him, going, dude. And I was in the Lambo, right? So I was like, for fuck's sake. So I was maybe 3-4 meters behind. So after about 2 minutes of sitting there while he was trying to overtake this truck, that was never going to happen.
Never gonna happen.
I flashed him.
Cool.
He fucking brake tested me, man. Like full brakes.
Oh wow.
And, I mean, I'm in a Lambo, so the brakes are much better. So it wasn't a big deal.
But still.
But I was like, what the fuck, dude?
Why are you doing that?
So when I went past him, and then he's like, fuck you, like,
why?
Out the window.
I just want to go home.
Dude, like, just do the road rules.
I don't get that.
Like, calm down. Like, I just flashed you so you get the fuck out of the way because you're not going the speed limit.
100% gas, stay in the left lane. What are you doing?
I reckon if I was in like a Prius, that wouldn't have been the reaction.
Yeah, it's true. I've spoken about this before. We have that whole tall puppy syndrome.
It's mad, man.
But we got to change that, right? Because we got the young generation coming. And I love the young generation, man. They're cool. The kids are cool. Like, they see the cars, they come up to you, they want to talk to you about it.
It's true, actually.
And you know what, man? It's so cool.
There's people my age that aren't like that.
Yeah, but it's changing, right? The young kids, man.
I think you're right.
Like, people talk about trolls on the Instagram stuff. Man, I've never had a troll. The messages I get every day, right?
Supportive.
It's so supportive. They love it. I reply back to every single one of them.
Man.
And I love it. And I can see that change happening, right? And we got to talk about it because I think it's the older generation. I don't know, they got a chip on the shoulder or whatever it is, right? But the younger generation are different, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that change for our kids, because we got to grow. As
I don't know, man. I recently, when I did a lecture at UQ, I took one of the supercars. And usually I park it undercover somewhere. But this time I was running so late for the lecture. I actually parked it right in front of the Great Court, which is like the most visible spot. Right, and there's like a Facebook group for UQ, and one of the students taking a photo, and all the comments were like, "How come you didn't scratch it? Who fucking drives a car like that to uni with all these struggling students and like blah blah blah?" And I was like, man, like,
take that inspired.
I was a struggling uni student, and I was a lot poorer than you, and I came from a fucking war zone in Iran.
100%.
That's where I came from. Like, man, I grew up in the Iran-Iraq war. That's where I was born.
Same, man. 100%.
Like, and to think that people sit there and go, "Oh, he's just lucky," or blah, and there was so much racism because they were all like, "Oh, I bet you he's a rich Asian." That was all the comments. Must be a rich Asian guy, and I'm like, that's insulting to people from Asia.
100%. That's sad.
It's sad, man. It's because you know what it is, man. I think when people see someone succeed, they want to find an excuse for why they didn't. And
that's true. I never thought of that like that.
It must be luck. It must be parents' money. It must be this.
Oh, he must be a drug dealer.
Whatever, man. I mean, that's what we get because we look like fucking drug dealers.
Get the gold chains. He's like, hey, it's definitely a drug dealer.
Definitely a drug dealer, right? Yeah. And they never actually ask, how did he get successful? They're trying to find a reason as to why he became
bring
successful.
You down. Bring you down. Sad. We've got to change that. We really, and this is the whole point of these podcasts, right? So, I spoke to you. You were very kind enough to make the time to come down.
Oh, anytime.
And but it's really cool, man. But we're not doing this to make money. We're not doing this for chasing fame. We're doing this because we want to actually keep it real, and we want to help, and we want to make a difference in the next generation, right?
Absolutely, man.
And we want to talk about things that people are afraid to talk about. I know. Because, you got to be politically correct with everything in life, right? So, and I understand you have a responsibility as a leader, as someone that's successful, whatever, to do the right thing. I'm totally agree with that. But it's about
you got to be honest.
100%.
You got to be genuine, man.
You got to be genuine, and because that's what makes you you. Yeah. You're different because nobody can be you.
Yeah,
right?
It's true, man.
And you got to own it. And we're not perfect. We're far from perfect. I'm not perfect anyway, but far from it, right?
Yeah.
But
you and me both, man.
Oh man, but I'm learning and I'm trying to give back based on my experience and based on the feedback that I get from other people to make things better, right? Yeah. And that's what it's about. So I know I've got so much things to ask you, and I know you got things to do and stuff. But tell me your favorite car, your favorite ever car.
It's my Aston, man.
Still the Aston.
Yeah, man. I that car, not because it's fast or it's anything particularly amazing, because of the emotions it evokes. That was the first time in my life I felt like I got somewhere. And every time I sit in it, I still feel that way. And I feel like that kid that went from being fucking broke to not being broke, and that's a life-changing moment for someone that's been broke all their life.
Yeah, I totally get that, man.
It's true, man. Like, going back to what you were saying before, all the messages I get on Instagram are very supportive, and a lot of people are just asking for advice. And I'm like you, I go out of my way to try and respond to as many people as I can.
I love that.
Because it's important.
Because you make a difference in their life.
Well, because most of the people I ever hired at CarAdvice are significantly smarter than me. So I don't really think of myself as anyone that's different to the random guy walking down the street,
man.
right?
Yeah.
So as a result of that, when I get someone asking me a question, I'm always like, this guy's probably smarter than me.
Yeah.
I'm happy to help them because they can do what I did. I know they can do what I did.
Yeah, 100%. I always say that. I always say you can do what I did and 10 times more.
Yeah, I
always say that.
genuinely believe
so do I, man.
that anyone fucking out there could do what
So
I
do
did.
I. So do I.
So I'm happy to help them because,
Yeah.
and it's funny, I did a podcast with a friend of mine 10 years ago when I first started CarAdvice and first started having some success.
Yeah.
Some guy in the UK listened to it
Yeah.
and he started a business called Car Throttle. Just off the back of that podcast.
Because that
And he just recently sold it, I think, for about £40 million.
Wow, man.
And he actually sent me a message about 2 years ago and said, I just want to let you know that podcast
You're
is
the catalyst.
And actually, like, whoa, like,
That is the best feeling in the world.
well, it started a fucking competitor, right? But anyway, but it didn't affect me.
wow,
I was
man.
still very successful. He was still very successful, and he was also an immigrant. You know, he was the same color as me.
Yeah.
And I thought, fucking good for you, man. Like, it really made a difference because I've made such an impact somewhere in a different country, and some guy just going for a run listening to this fucking podcast, and that's what this is all about.
100%,
Yeah,
man. And that's what
this
it's all about. And I love that. Man, you know what? I love talking to you, you know. I've only met you a couple of times, and like this is so good because this is so raw and genuine because I'm finding out stuff that I didn't know either during this podcast, which is what I love. I love your story. I love what you've done. I can't wait to see what you're going to do in the future, man. It's going to be so cool. I can't wait to be part of it. I want to see your journey. I want to share your journey. I want to go on that journey with you. And I want us to make a difference, you know, when it comes to cars, when it comes to entrepreneurship, for the young guys and girls out there, right?
Absolutely.
So thank you for coming and thank you for making this so special for me personally and everybody else. So, I just want to say thank you again. And if there's anything that you want to say to finish off, if there's any advice that you can give the young people out there, go for it.
Man, my only advice has always been don't be afraid to fail. That's it.
Wow.
Just do it. Like, we live in probably, if not the best, but one of the top 5 best countries in the world. The worst that can happen to you is you have a setback and you go and try again. Like, you can always go and get a job.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're a half decent human being, half qualified to do anything in life, you've got some ability, you will always get a job, right?
Yeah.
But you'll be fucking 60 and you'll regret not having done all the shit. Actually, you know what? 60 is not even that old.
No,
you'll be 80 and you'll regret not having started a business.
It's so true.
So just do it. Like, especially like when I talk to people in their early 20s and they're afraid, I'm like, what are you afraid of? You have no responsibility. You got no kids. You got no mortgage. You live at home. Like, you have zero fucking responsibility. This is the best time to take a risk. Spend the next 3 years investing in yourself and starting businesses.
Yeah, spot on.
So
I totally agree. Thanks for coming in, man.
Thanks
Appreciate it,
me.
huh? I look forward to hearing more from you.
Absolutely, man. Thanks,
All right.
heaps.
Thank you so much. Hey, guys, thanks for tuning in. What a great podcast. Please tune in on iTunes, Spotify, whatever else it is, and give it a rating. And I can't wait for us to do our next episode. God bless.